Far out beyond the rim zone, where even stars seemed fewer and space grew darker, the Empire's long-range scanners picked up something strange. At first, the officers on duty thought it was just noise, another glitch in the system. After all, the deep space scanners sometimes picked up ghost signals, echoes from distant comets or old wreckage. But this one was different. This one moved. The signal changed position too quickly, far faster than any natural object. It wasn't an asteroid or debris. Something was out there, something big. Commander Rezik was called to the control bridge of the Imperial Watch Fleet. He stared at the data streaming in. "Location confirmed?" he asked calmly. The technician nodded, but his hands trembled slightly. "Yes, sir. It's moving along a direct vector, toward our outer ring. It's not slowing down." "How big?" Rezik asked. The room went quiet as the measurement appeared on the central screen. 8.2 kilometers long, the system replied. Silence. That wasn't a ship. That was a mobile city. Rezik frowned and ordered an identity scan. The system searched known records, enemy ships, lost vessels, experimental designs. Nothing. The database returned only 2 words in red. No data found. A ship of that size with no energy signals, no engine trail, no known design markers? Impossible. Every advanced species left some trace of their tech. But this thing, it was a shadow with shape. Within the hour, the Watch Fleet's sensor grid was redirected toward the object. The data grew stranger. The ship gave off no radiation, no heat, no radio waves. And yet, it was moving, turning, as if guided by intent. It crossed empty space with ease, adjusting course as if watching something. Then it stopped, right on the edge of the Empire's outer defense ring. Rezik ordered caution. "Don't provoke it. Let it make the first move." But the junior officers were nervous. One whispered to another, "Why doesn't it show up on any record? No species has ever built something that size in secret." "Maybe it's not from the galaxy," the other replied. Rezik stood alone at the main screen, staring at the slowly turning object. It looked like a dagger carved from black stone, with a surface too smooth, too perfect. No lights, no windows, no markings. Then suddenly, it turned. Its front section rotated with purpose, aligning directly toward one of the Imperial fleet. Bases. No signals, no threats, no weapons fired, just a slow, terrifying focus. Rezik didn't blink. "Alert the fleet. All ships on standby. If this thing makes a hostile move, we fire everything." But deep inside, he knew something. Something cold crept into his thoughts. That wasn't a ship made for war. That was a ship made to remind the galaxy of something it had forgotten. And whatever it was, it remembered them. Fleet Base Kalor 17 sat in orbit above the barren moon of Tolrex. It was home to over 40,000 Imperial soldiers, engineers, and officers. Strong shields, thousands of turrets, and destroyer-class ships stood ready for anything. But nothing in their training prepared them for what they now saw outside their windows. The unknown ship, the one that didn't exist in any records, had stopped just beyond visual range. Still completely silent, still showing no signs of life. Yet somehow, watching, Admiral Velk, commander of Kalor 17, stood before the holo display. "Why is it just sitting there?" he asked. No one answered. Not because they didn't want to, but because they didn't know. "Has it made any transmissions?" the Admiral asked again. "None," the COAM's officer said, voice shaking. "It's completely dead on all frequencies. But its sensors are active. It's scanning us." Velk narrowed his eyes. "Then it knows we're here." "Yes, sir," said another officer. "And it's ignoring everything else. Just us." That made everyone quiet. Then something changed. Without warning, the giant ship emitted a soft hum, not through speakers, not through radio, but directly into every ship's systems. A sound that wasn't heard, but felt. It vibrated through the metal, through the bones of every soldier on Kalor 17. a low, deep tone that made no sense and had no message, but somehow still carried one idea. You are being judged. Panic started to rise. The admiral ordered all ships to red alert. Fighters scrambled. Turrets rotated and locked onto the strange ship. The fleet was ready, but the unknown vessel didn't react. It just hovered, waiting. Meanwhile, deep inside the Imperial core, a hidden AI system, Project Oracle, received the same signal. It too failed to classify the ship, but after hours of silent processing, it found one match. A reference not from the present, but from the ancient archive, locked behind highest security. One sentence stood out. If it ever returns, run. Don't fight, just run. The AI sent an emergency alert to the Emperor himself, but it was too late. Back at Kalor 17, the humming stopped. A flash of blue light appeared under the unknown ship, small at first, like a scanner or beam. But it grew, and then, in a blink, it was gone. So was Fleet Base Kalor 17. No explosion, no debris, no warning. One moment it was there, the next, just empty space. From across the galaxy, Imperial fleets stared in horror as the feed from Kalor 17 ended in static, and the ship began moving again, heading toward the next base. Not speaking, not slowing, just coming. The destruction of Fleet Base Kalor 17 spread like wildfire across the galaxy. Entire sectors fell into silence. No battle, no fire, no last transmission. The base had simply vanished. Not a single escape pod, not a single signal, just nothing. At Imperial High Command, panic took root. The Emperor stood surrounded by admirals and AI advisors. They played the final frame from the Kalor 17 feed again and again, zooming, filtering, enhancing. But the only thing they saw was the flash of blue light, and then blackness. The Emperor's face was calm, but his hands gripped the edge of his throne chair. "You're telling me," he said slowly, "that this ship, this thing, just erased a base the size of a city, without using a weapon?" "Correct, Your Grace," said General Halen. "We don't understand how. There was no heat signature, no kinetic wave. It didn't destroy the base. It simply removed it. Removed." That word haunted everyone in the room. Then came the whisper. It arrived not on comms, but through the ancient backup systems. Systems so old they had no connection to modern networks. Systems sealed in vaults, built before the rise of the Empire itself. Only one line came through, in a voice none of them recognized, speaking a language that took a moment to translate. "Old. Human. We warned you once." The Emperor's breath caught. "Who is we?" he asked. No one answered. The ship, now labeled as Object Zero, continued its silent path deeper into Imperial space. Hundreds of ships were mobilized to intercept it. An entire wall of dreadnoughts and cruisers formed along the projected course. The plan was simple: surround it, trap it, and force it to respond. The trap failed. Object Zero didn't stop. It didn't speed up. It didn't attack. It just passed right through them. Literally, ships that got close flickered, lost control, and reappeared miles away from their positions. Crews lost time. Some swore they were inside the ship for a moment. They described dark halls, cold metal, and whispers in languages they had never learned. And eyes, human eyes, watching. Admiral Keshu, commander of the 17th Armada, tried to fire directly at the ship. All weapons failed. Missiles shut down mid-flight. Lasers bent away like water on stone. When Keshu gave the order to ram it, his flagship turned in reverse on its own. Something was overriding control. Something bigger than any code. All across the Empire, the effect rippled. AI cores became unresponsive. Navigation failed. Civilian. Ships began receiving old human distress calls. Messages that hadn't existed for thousands of years. "We told you once. You erased us. You forgot. But we remember." People started asking dangerous questions. Who were they? Why did the message sound human? What had the Empire done? In the middle of all this chaos, a hidden vault opened on an old moon called Virex 3. Inside, a single broken pod woke up. Dust-covered and forgotten for centuries, it opened to reveal a human man. Old, wounded, eyes glowing faintly with blue light. He whispered one sentence before collapsing. They brought it back. Meanwhile, Object Zero stopped again, this time near the Imperial mining colony of Frolin 6. The colony went dark in 7 seconds. No one saw anything. No one escaped. But days later, an old Terran lullaby played from every mining station left behind. Sleep, little star. The dark is near. We see you now, and we are here. The Emperor finally gave the order. Initiate Protocol Omega. Evacuate high-value worlds. Abandon outer sectors. Prepare the core for breach. But everyone knew it was too late. Object Zero wasn't just a ship. It was a reminder, a return. Something ancient had come back from the dark. Something born on Earth. Deep in the heart of Sector 19, a small research outpost called Juno Relay floated near a dead planet. It was quiet, far from war zones, and filled mostly with scientists and data analysts. The team there had one job: to scan old signals, clean ancient data, and study ruins from the early days of galactic exploration. No one expected them to be the front line. Dr. Elira Voss, head of ancient xenolinguistics, had just finished decrypting a message from an old Terran archive. She rubbed her eyes and leaned back in her chair. The line she translated didn't make sense at first. When we are erased, we become the erasers. Before she could process it, the power flickered, then again and again. The lights dimmed. The outpost's automated voice calmly said, "Warning. Anomaly approaching. Unclassified object inbound." Everyone froze. They all knew what it was. Object Zero, the impossible ship, the one that erased Kalor 17, the one that ignored fire, the one that answered nothing. Elira's hand shook as she opened a direct feed. The outpost's sensors activated and scanned the object, again returning the same result. No data found. But this time, something changed. The object didn't just float past Juno Relay. It stopped, right in front of them. The outpost's windows darkened as the enormous shape blocked the stars. From horizon to horizon, it stretched like a god made of stone and silence. Suddenly, all screens across the station turned black, and then a face appeared. Human, but old, worn, as if carved from pain and time itself. The face didn't speak. Its eyes just stared, through every screen, through every sensor, into every soul. Dr. Voss stepped forward and whispered, "Who are you?" Then the face spoke. "We were the first to reach the stars. We were betrayed, forgotten, buried under." "Your lies." The crew backed away, afraid. The voice continued, cold and without mercy. "We gave knowledge. You gave silence. We gave peace. You gave extinction." The lights exploded. Doors slammed shut. The outpost shook, but not from impact, from fear. Elira screamed, "Shut it down! Disconnect everything!" But it was no use. The voice came from inside the systems now. "We remember everything. And now, you will too." Every screen flashed images: burning planets, fallen colonies, old human ships being torn apart, while Imperial cruisers watched in silence. The truth hit them like fire. The Empire had lied. Long ago, Earth had reached the stars first, had helped the galaxy grow, had offered peace, but Earth was too powerful, too wild. So the Council erased them, turned the galaxy against them, and buried their legacy in forgotten space. But Earth didn't die. It waited. It built. And now, it had returned. Outside, the massive ship lit up briefly, not with weapons, but with names. Names of planets. Names of fallen stations. Names of every betrayal the Empire had buried. Juno Relay's power core failed seconds later. The last thing Dr. Elira saw was the human face whispering, "You remembered us too late." Then silence. Across the galaxy, panic exploded. Refugees fled border worlds. Fleets retreated. Empires blamed each other. But the ship didn't stop. It moved. Toward the core worlds. Toward the Emperor. The Emperor stood alone in the great chamber of stars. Thousands of crystal lights above him showed the positions of his fleets, colonies, and worlds. Once, it made him feel proud. Now he stared at the center, Sector 00, the heart of the Empire. And Object Zero was only 4 jumps away. Every attempt to stop the ship had failed. The Imperial Armada had thrown waves of warships at it. None returned, not destroyed, not damaged, just gone. Like the ship had erased them from space and memory. And still, no answers, only questions. And one repeating message: we warned you once. The Emperor turned as Admiral Sorel entered, pale and stiff. Report, the Emperor said. Sorel swallowed hard. Sir, we received a message, not through our systems. It came through the old Terran beacon buried beneath our own capital city. The Emperor's eyes narrowed. That beacon was sealed 900 years ago. I know, sir, Sorel said, but it turned itself on. It sent only one sentence. He handed the Emperor a pad. On it, written in ancient Terran script, we are not lost. We are awakened. The Emperor dropped the pad. That same moment, across the galaxy, Imperial citizens began reporting strange dreams. Shared dreams. Dreams of fire and light, of a great blue world rising again, and of a whisper inside their minds. Do you remember us now? Meanwhile, in the lower levels of the Imperial archives, historians and AI scribes tried to piece together old fragments. What they discovered shocked them. Earth had once been the seat of a peaceful alliance, a federation of worlds guided by humans, strong, kind, and terrifying in war. But when Earth refused to hand over its technology to the Council, a secret plan was launched. Operation Silence. Earth was bombed, its colonies erased, its people labeled as missing, mad, or extinct. But some humans survived, and those survivors had built something. Object Zero wasn't just a ship, it was a judgment. Far away, in the ruins of a forgotten outpost, a scavenger named Jex found a strange object buried in ash. A black cube. It pulsed when he touched it. A voice inside the cube whispered, "They think it's a ship. It's not. It's a memory. A storm made of pain." Back at Imperial Command, the Emperor ordered a full planetary shield around the capital. "If Earth comes here," he said, "we will not bow. We will burn before we kneel." But even as he spoke, the lights above him blinked again. Another planet. Another system. Gone. Not bombed. Not destroyed. Just removed. The last recorded message. From the lost world. A child's voice singing, "Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Now we know just who you are." Fear swept through the core. Rebellion started. Old allies questioned everything. If the Empire had lied about Earth, what else had they buried? Object Zero entered the final jump gate, and on its hull, written in glowing Terran script, were words that made the Empire tremble. "You took our sky. Now we take your stars." Cliffhanger for Part 5. The stars looked dimmer now. Object Zero had passed the final jump gate and did not stop. It moved in silence, heading straight for the Imperial throne world, Virellon Prime, the crown jewel of the Ujman galaxy. Above Virellon, the skies were filled with ships. Thousands of Imperial dreadnoughts and defense platforms covered the orbit. No ship in history had ever breached this wall, but Object Zero wasn't a ship. It was a warning wrapped in armor. It came without sound, without weapons fire, without signals, and as it neared the outer line of defense, all Imperial vessels prepared to fire. Inside the command center, Admiral Sorel stood rigid. "Target locked. Ready to fire on your command." The Emperor, sitting high above, gave a single nod. "Let it feel the wrath of the Empire." The weapons released. A storm of missiles, beams, plasma bursts, everything the Empire had, shot toward the unknown object. And then, they vanished. Every single shot disappeared inches before touching the hull. No impact, no detonation. It was like the ship ate the attacks, In the control room, panic rose. "What happened?" shouted a junior officer. Sorel looked pale. "It nullified everything. I've never seen anything like it." Suddenly, one of the enemy ships turned, an Imperial cruiser. It opened fire on its own side. More ships followed. Without warning, without reason, crews began hearing voices, whispering inside their minds, whispers of shame, of guilt, of betrayal. "You stood by when they burned us. You watched Earth fall and said nothing. Now you pay." Object Zero kept moving. It did not speed up. It did not slow down. But, as it passed the first layer of defense, ships began to fail. Not from damage, but from despair. Veteran soldiers dropped their weapons and cried. AI systems shut themselves down. Some captains begged for mercy, though no response came. Below on the surface, people began to riot. The entire population watched the dark shape in the sky grow larger. A shadow stretching across cities, oceans, mountains. The Emperor called for an emergency broadcast. He appeared on every screen in the Empire. "My people," he began, "you are afraid. I see it. But we are the Empire. We are the bringers of order. This thing in the sky is nothing but a relic of the past. We will survive this storm as we have survived all others." But even as he spoke, the palace lights flickered, and a new voice broke through the signal. "No, you won't." Everyone froze. The voice was calm, human, and heavy with centuries of pain. "We asked for peace. You gave silence. We offered unity. You gave betrayal. You erased our name. Now we erase your lies." Then every screen in the Empire played the same video, never seen before. An ancient recording. It showed the truth. Earth's last council, trying to negotiate peace with the Galactic Council, begging them not to destroy the colonies, warning that retaliation would come, not soon, but someday. Then came the betrayal. Explosions, bombings, earth burning. The last image was of a child, covered in ash, being carried underground by survivors. The final words. "When you see us again, you will remember why we were feared." The people of Virelon screamed. Object Zero hovered above the capital now, casting the entire world in darkness, and it began to open. Not a weapon bay, not a cannon, but a door. A blinding white light spilled out, and from that light stepped humans, tall, armored, silent, not old, not weak, but stronger than any soldier the galaxy had ever seen. And behind them came machines, silent constructs made of old Terran tech. Things the Empire had never seen before, things that made warships look like toys. The humans said nothing, but the Yushu, look in their eyes, said it all. They weren't here to destroy. They were here to show the Empire what it feels like to be helpless. The skies over Virelon Prime had turned black, not with smoke, not with ash, but with fear. Object Zero hovered in silence. Its door remained open, and the humans stood still. They didn't speak. They didn't move. They just watched. From every building, every base, every hallway across the Empire, one message kept repeating through every speaker, every screen, every implant. This is not an invasion. This is a reckoning. The Emperor trembled in his throne. His royal guards had fled. His commanders had locked themselves in bunkers, and the once glorious Imperial database, home to knowledge from over 10,000 conquered systems, was empty, purged. All records of Earth had been restored, and the lies erased. The truth was there. Now, for all to see, how the Empire had hunted Earth's colonies, how it had betrayed treaties, how Earth had chosen silence, and vanished. To prepare. Now, silence was Earth's weapon, and fear was its messenger. In the main plaza of Virelon Prime, a boy stared up at the figures descending from Object Zero. His parents gripped his arms tightly, whispering prayers. But the soldiers did not hurt them. Instead, they walked straight past. To the palace, to the Emperor. No one dared stop them. They reached the throne room without a single shot fired. The Emperor stood alone, his crown gone. His hands shaking, he looked at the leader of the Terran soldiers, a woman in sleek black armor, her eyes glowing with ancient fury. "You can't do this," he said, barely able to speak. "This is the heart of the galaxy." She didn't answer with words. Instead, she placed a single object on the ground, a small black cube. It pulsed once, and then played a sound, a recording, of the Emperor's voice, from centuries ago, ordering Earth's neutralization. Laughing, calling humans a failed branch of evolution, he fell to his knees. "I was a child," he whispered. "That was my ancestor." The human commander stepped closer, still silent. She raised a hand, not in violence, but in choice. The cube projected two paths. One showed Virelon in flames, cities broken, skies red. The other showed the Empire disarmed, humbled, but alive. "You get one chance," she said softly. "Not to live, but to remember." The Emperor sobbed. He nodded. Then, the soldiers vanished, just like that. Object Zero turned. It didn't fire. It didn't kill. It simply left, leaving the Empire silent, broken, and exposed. Across the galaxy, rebellions began. All the species the Empire had conquered now knew the truth. Earth had not returned to conquer. It had returned to end the lie. To show the galaxy what power truly meant when held with restraint. And somewhere, deep in space, Object Zero vanished again. Not gone, just waiting, watching. Because Earth had learned its lesson. Kindness was not weakness. Silence was not surrender. But, if the stars ever forgot again, Earth would remind them.